Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbonneau, and with me is my co-host, John Bristow. How are you doing, John?
Nice to see you again. It's been a while, huh?
It's been a little
back.
bit, been busy. Things have been happening. Vacations are coming. I do have some time scheduled off in July, so we'll probably have some breaks here and there.
So dog days of summer, you got the baseball,
Yeah.
you got the weather. Last thing you want to do is talk about tech, I guess.
The weather. There's lots of weather. It's done nothing but rain here, probably for 3 months solid. Like almost every day we've had rain, and I've got flies attacking me, which tells me summer's definitely here.
Yep.
It's not my favorite time of the year. I'm jealous. You're going into winter.
I know. I'm wearing the old jumper, as we say down here in Oz. This is also known as a sweater, I guess, if you're of the Canadian vernacular. So, yeah, it's a bit chilly down here.
You've got it good, my friend. So this is the show where we talk about tech news, AI, the latest and greatest developing developer tools, all the things that you need to know to get by for the week.
All the things.
All the things. We missed a big news week with, well, if you want to call it a big news week, with the Apple announcements. I didn't see anything terribly useful come out of the Apple announcements. Did you, John?
It's more of the same. They did a mea culpa of sorts on Siri / Apple Intelligence. I love the naming of it as well, Apple Intelligence. Let's just give it the AI reference there. But, the big disappointment for me was the fact that they completely just glossed over the fact that it's been such a disaster. So yeah, of course we're talking about WWDC, etc., which happened actually quite a while ago now by tech standards. But yeah,
we missed a couple weeks here.
Yeah. So I mean, my general thinking on this is that I've been frustrated by Siri for so long because I am an Apple user myself, and I've found myself, it's that Curb Your Enthusiasm sort of scenario where I'm yelling at my phone in the car to try and understand, to help me understand. I had that moment yesterday. I was like trying to call my son, and it just thought I was wanting to call some random person in my contact list. So, I'm trying to enunciate correctly, but it won't understand it. So,
I've got all kids and stuff by the nicknames, and then I'll use the voice automated dialing feature, and I'll say their actual name, and the thing is looking through the contact list like, I don't know who that is. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I got to remember.
Not happy, Jan.
I gotta remember how I got them listed in there, but nonetheless, the AI stuff is a mixed bag, but it's all the rage in the news. I think we just still haven't figured out what to do with it all.
Yeah,
we're trying to build apps with it.
Well, just on that note, I think Apple's missing the mark here because they have all the silicon they need. They don't have to push it back to the cloud to do the processing. They've got the chip right there in their phone, ready to go. And the implementation has just been a dog's breakfast, as we say here in Australia. So I don't know what is going on. And the lack of a true apology, I think, is really telling. I mean, that's classic Apple. It's like, what do you mean? We didn't do anything wrong. You're just holding it wrong. It's the classic sort of scenario. So I've been really, really disappointed in its integration. Just haven't found that Apple's really innovating a great deal these days. So,
what are you talking about? They have the glass UI, my friend.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about Aero, shall we? Let's talk. If this was 2005, I'd be really excited right now.
It does look a bit like the old Windows, but
yes,
back enthusiasts will tell you you're totally wrong because it's
of course, you're
specular real-time rendering. Whether or not it's rendering in real time or not, it's not a good UX. But
no,
I did find an article that was fairly, balanced in opinion, and I thought I'd share this. It was really well written. It's somewhat pro the new UI, but it's got a nice history in it, and this was on the Lux camera website. So I guess they do a lot of integration with Mac devices and things, Apple devices. So they decided to write something somewhat favorable on the issue. But I thought it was interesting because they gave like this nice kind of history on everything. And yeah, we started out in, I like they give all these different ages, like the shaded age. This was one of the first iOS device renderings here. And it kind of goes through how these things looked over time and compared to what we were using. Like this is a generational leap forward, which arguably the new stuff is not. But you can see it kind of evolve over time. Then we went through like the flat age. We started dropping the skeuomorphic stuff.
Yep.
And then everybody went flat, right?
Yep.
I think they kind of left off Windows Phone. They didn't make a mention of
why
Windows
would they
Phone,
want
oddly
to
enough.
acknowledge Microsoft or even Google, right?
It's like,
Apple
and
has done
then
everything.
Apple invented the flat age.
Exactly. This
Do you
is the
remember
problem
when
I
they did
have
that,
with this
John?
whole community. They don't look at what has existed prior the prior art. Microsoft does this as well. The Microsoft community does this. The Google community does this. It's like we were the ones that came down from on high and to the unwashed masses and said, we shall give you what you have wanted for years. And it's like, okay, guys, like you're just borrowing off each other. I remember reading blog posts like this when Arrow first shipped in Vista. I remember reading about this same stylistic stuff around explaining things around what Android was doing, etc. Everyone does this, right? And it's like, this isn't new. This is just an evolution, and fair enough. I mean, like, sure, there's aesthetics to this, and there's a purpose behind it, etc. But I don't see this as being kind of like revolutionary. I see it just being kind of like more evolution rather than revolution.
This is something I thought was really interesting, and the reason I think it's interesting is you have Apple that has a massive ecosystem with lots of users that have desktop and mobile devices, right?
Yep.
So what do you base the next generation of UI on, but the most niche product that you have in your portfolio, the Vision, the Apple Vision Pro?
That thing that no one bought? Sure, for
the thing that nobody bought,
$3,500 US,
is the inspiration for the UI that they're centering all of their devices on. So this paved the way for this new Glass UI that I'm hearing rumors now that they may have already canned, but like that's how fast technology changes. 2 weeks, they went from the next best thing to it might not have been a great idea. So rumor mill is that they're not actually going to go through with it now, but they took inspiration from the Vision OS, which I have to sidebar for a moment and say it's comical to watch the Vision Pro community as well, because they're doing the same thing I just mentioned with the Windows Phone stealing of stuff. They're like, now in Vision OS, you can pin just like anything, like a poster to your wall, and it could be like from your music library, play music.
Right.
And it's like, oh, you mean just like the HoloLens did 10 years ago? Can you believe that's been 10 years? 10 years the HoloLens shipped with that feature.
Sure.
I'm saddened to see the Quest not have it. I think it's something they should have had with the Quest 3 out of the box. They don't have it. Vision OS got it, and it's 10 years too late for both of the
I'm not worried about
platforms.
the lack of wallpaper in my VR headset. I don't have a VR headset. I choose.
It's
not
more
to.
than just wallpapering, but it's like interactive objects. You could put, say, instead of an icon on a dashboard, you can just put like a trophy on your desk, and you're like, oh, I want to launch my favorite game, and that's my trophy I won in the game. You tap on the trophy and the game launches, type of thing. But anyway, AR aside, like we get to
that's
the
worth
modern
the
day.
$3,500 to me for sure.
Liquid Glass, 3,500. It's ridiculous. So this whole Liquid Glass thing, it looks nice in screenshots. It makes for a great dribble account portfolio, a great Behance portfolio. But when you start doing these shaded UI surfaces, take it from somebody that's done UI UX work before. This is hard to get right.
Oh, sure.
And it looks good in these idealistic scenarios like this, but when you start getting a lot of noise on the screen, these things turn into camouflage and you cannot see them anymore. So your UI starts to disappear, and anybody with any type of visual accessibility needs is going to be stranded unless they turn this off.
This is the biggest criticism of this, and the community should recognize that. I think that there's a lot of, and on all camps, right? Every community does this, right? No, you don't understand. Like, no, we do understand. We've seen this elsewhere. The accessibility part is a huge one, and it's going to cause problems for a lot of folks.
I also liked the take on this part of it too. There's some Microsoft references in here where they do like these really cool, this is the future of UI and UX, and they come up with these like amazing videos. And they kind of coin this the science fiction and glass fiction.
It's based on Fabric UI. Like, this exists. This is like, I'm not trying to defend Microsoft, but
that does not exist anywhere.
Okay, maybe. Okay, that's done in Photoshop, but it's pretty damn close. If you looked at Fabric, I mean, it does. Okay.
I don't know if you've seen the video in full motion.
I have. Completely
fabricated.
They're doing the classic After Effects.
I think they actually have it.
Yes, they're doing the classic After Effects. I know what you're talking about. Yes, it's not like this.
For folks that haven't seen it.
Yes. It's getting pretty close, though, I have to say. Now, you have to remember, Ed, this is a designer who's taking all these Z indexes and dropping elements on the screen. Smooth, 60 frames per second, yada, yada, yada. Yes, it doesn't look like this on the screen. It's getting pretty close, though. So I think it's disingenuous for them to just say that this is fiction. It's not. It's getting close.
Yeah, this was the point in the article that they were saying these UI generations that we're seeing now, like the glass UI, you're seeing, these real fancy, highly like stylized video reels that are, they're advertising pieces. And the actual UI is not going to look like that. It's going to be...
No, but they're doing a 3D tilt as well. Like, there's no way it's going to look like this. So,
right, that's what they're saying in the article. Like, manage your expectations. Like, it's not going to be as wild as it looks in the videos. It's going to be a little bit more matte and realistic, and that might take care of some of the UX issues.
Sure.
And I'm just saying, wait and see. They're going to have to really dial back the effects from what we saw to make it a decent UX that people can actually read content off their screens.
Yeah. Look, I give credit. Yeah. I have to give credit to Apple for trying to push things forward. But
by going back to Era,
well, I think it's
Windows.
It's the classic Apple thing of we've reimagined or we've revolutionized or we're this implication that we are the only ones to do it or we're going to do it right. Or it's like, come on, guys. Like, like if they could just drop that a little bit and just dial it back a little bit of trying to pat them. Don't break your arm patting yourself on the back, sort of thing. I think then it would be it wouldn't be viewed with so much like, sort of thing. I think that, and that goes for all camps, basically. I get it. It's marketing, it's advertising, it's appealing to the emotional state of developers, etc. Like, hey, you have chosen correctly the platform you have chosen to develop upon, developers or users, etc. We are going to show you the way forward with this innovation that no one else has ever done before. It's like, okay, You want
another hot take on it? Mission accomplished. They got us to stop talking about how bad their AI is. it just happened on the show. It happened in real life too. Like everybody stopped talking about how bad their AI was to talk about how bad the UX might be when this glass thing rolls out. It totally shifted the conversation online. So hats off to him for another marketing.
That's fair.
Another marketing feat. Let's shift gears away from bashing Apple to celebrating GitOps.
Bashing GitOps. That's right. Yeah. So this
the
is
state of GitOps report. Tell us about it, John.
A report that we put out. We interviewed 660 folks to ask some questions around GitOps. Obviously, this isn't going to be thorough. This is just a sample, obviously, but there's some really good highlights in there. You can download the report now. We did a webinar around this as well, where we talked about some of the observations we made. We were citing Dora, we were citing GitOps, we were citing development teams. It's approximately 80 pages long with lots of pretty charts and graphs. If you're looking for something to provide evidence to implement GitOps within your organization, please feel free to check this out. It is available for free up on octopus.com. We're not saying this is magical and revolutionary. We're not trying to we're just telling you what we found by interviewing folks. I'm trying to backtrack the stuff that I just trashed other companies with. Yeah, this is something that we care a great deal about GitOps, obviously, and this is something that we've put out recently.
You got a glass you want.
Yeah, that's
cover.
right. There you go. Yeah, we were going to make that
looking
Mobius
good
strip
there.
A little see-through. There you go. Yeah.
Nice and shiny. Nice and shiny.
Hey, look, we're not claiming to know everything, but we are claiming that we talked to 660 people about this. So,
Gemini CLI, your open source AI agents. So we've got an AI agent on the command line.
That's right. So Google has shipped this out. Gemini obviously is the, I guess, marketing term amongst everything around everything AI with Google, and they just shipped their CLI, which a lot of developers are excited about. This blew up on Stack Overflow, Hacker News, and I like this. I like anytime there's a tool, a means to an end that developers can get their hands on without having to use mouses and keyboards and other fashions. I'm a big fan of keeping your hands on the keyboard. And so a CLI to me speaks volumes. I can pipe input and I can pipe output. I can write commands. I can automate, etc. This was built in TypeScript. It is available as an open source repo. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of how people use it. And that's really where the CLI shine, is you can put it into an automation context.
Well, it's driven AI first coding. Boy, reaching for the marketing terms. This is really cool, though. I could see this being a powerful tool to use on the command line. I've been doing a lot of work with AI dev tools lately. We have a laundry list of them coming for the Progress brands. We launched the coding assistant for Telerik UI for Blazor and React. So if you're using any of our products within those ecosystems, these are MCP plugins that tie into any of your coding assistants that can use those type of resources. And if you're using one of our UI components, you can ask it questions and have it write code for you. It's grounded to our documentation and code samples and all that stuff. So it's really cool. And I've been doing some SDK development on a project. And this is a project that I have a web API, open API endpoint, like the generated YAML file for. So I took that YAML file and I fed it into Copilot. And I'm like, help me build a SDK around this web API service. And it did okay.
All right.
But there's something in the terms here that I think would have helped. I used Sonnet, I think, for the first part of it. And I ran out of context window. So this claims to have like a gigantic context window. So I might have to run some stuff through here and try it and see if it does a little bit of a better job. So in the scenario I'm talking about, this API surface has like over 100 endpoints, and all I've got to work with is this gigantic YAML file that describes like all of the endpoints, what their JSON headers look like, what all the responses look like, and it's a giant file. Like, it is gigantic. So I put it in Copilot, said, use this as a reference, yada yada, help me build this thing.
Yep.
And I think it got like past the first like 4 endpoints, and then it just ran out of context window because this file is
Sounds
just
like
so
me.
gigantic.
I'm done after 4 endpoints. Come on.
Yeah. And it didn't like crash out or anything like that. It just was like, I'm going to generate this thing. And it went through for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And it generated like .NET objects hand over fist. And then it was like, okay, I'm all done. Your SDK is complete. And then I looked at like, oh, there's only like 4 API calls in here. I'm doomed. I got to write the rest of this myself. And then of those endpoints, it got 2 of them completely wrong. So it wasn't useless. It did help me get a lot of the data transfer objects like stubbed out and completed. But as far as like taking care of boilerplate code, it did well. Making real decisions on architecture, not so much.
Right.
So these things are not taking our jobs anytime soon, as far as developers are concerned.
Speak for yourself, Ed.
But they are useful assistants. Remember the term assistant. They are assisting you in doing something. So I would say I probably saved, an hour or 2 out of an 8-hour day or something, just using that tool. There's a little bit of typing and waiting more than I'd care to admit, and then kind of rewriting things that broke could be a bit of a nuisance. The other thing I noticed with these coding assistants, John, I don't know if you're using them, but they do a lot of kind of safety around what code they're going to edit. And they like to, at least Copilot likes to say, here's the changes I made, and then you're kind of forced to say keep or undo. And I've caught it twice now where it gets kind of in a limbo state. And if you either don't remember to keep hitting the keep button and accepting the diffs, or maybe, I don't know what's triggering it, but you'll get lost in this loop, and your application will be working, the code will look fine, and then you exit out and come back and the code changes are gone. And I've had this happen twice and lost like some pretty good runs of coding. So work was gone.
Yeah, there are a lot of checks and balances in there. It's like that scene out of Spaceballs where Dark Helmet is saying, prepare to fast forward, prepare to fast forward, fast forward, fast forward, right? So yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, you can see it kind of in this workflow here. It'll pop up and say accept all the time. And I don't know if I'm missing some of the accepts in there, and I'm just like assuming the changes have been made, but I've lost work a few times and it's annoying. So keep an eye out for that stuff. But they are interesting tools, and I think they are the future. They just are so early. This stuff is just, it's experimental at this stage. The next thing I've got on the queue is, it has an MCP server. We'll talk about that in a minute. This is a clone of Storybook for Blazor. Nice. Still a big Blazor fan. Jay Sakamoto has been a major contributor to the .NET Blazor community. He's got a lot of cool tools out there, and Jay put this one out. It's a clone of Storybook, and it will take your Telerik components for your application, scan your application, and kind of put together a storybook for it. And he has released an MCP server for this. So
maybe we should take a second to explain what Storybook is for a second.
Sure, go ahead. While I try to find this thing I lost.
So for those who don't know, Storybook is a very popular component testing framework from a visual perspective. It came out a long time ago. I remember building some Kendo UI integration with Storybook. Anyways, the idea is that you can have a list of components on the left-hand side in the tree view and some settings on the right-hand side. And in the middle is your component. You can just basically, by tweaking the knobs and buttons, you can change the look and feel of a component, an individual UI element in the center. And so it's a way of experimentation. It's also a way of, in a sense, documenting what your components look like. So if you're using a framework like Kendo UI, for example, you can have a component like, say, for example, the data grid in the middle, and through these knobs and switches, get it to the point where you like what's generating, and then just copy and paste the markup for this. And so this is Blazing Story, which is a storybook-like clone for Blazor components.
All right. So here's a live site. This is like Jay's demo site, and he's got a basic button component, and then there are primary toggles where you can switch the colors and stuff like that, and it's all interactive, and you can put together building blocks and put them in here too, so you can see what a form should look like in your app and set standards and things on it. And then you can copy those things out when you need them. So what the MCP server does for this is really cool, John. So picture, you have this with all of your components added to it. And then back to my thing here, tabs that I open. Like the history. Oh, here we go. So you can enable the MCP server function for your storybook, and then add that MCP server to Copilot, and then you can ask Copilot to create a page using the buttons for my storybook, the X, Y, and Z for my storybook, and it will scan your storybook for the code and help you build out with AI your views. That's pretty freaking cool.
Sure.
I think that's neat. So you're enabling AI to view your storybook basically and help you and assist you in developing with those components from your storybook. So you want to try something like that out. Check out Jay Sakamoto's stuff on GitHub. He's got lots of cool stuff out there, but this one's called Blazing Story. Just do Blazing Story for Blazor and it'll show up. Give it a try and look up the MCP enabled features.
Very nice.
More .NET news, John. .NET Aspire 9.3 with GitHub Copilot. Some more AI stuff. I don't know if you've seen this already, but this is really cool. I think a lot of apps are going to start heading in this direction. And this is a little bit of a later edition for Copilot or for Aspire, but I see this happening the other way around in the near future, where your apps are being built AI first.
Right.
So we have our Aspire dashboard, and now it comes with a chat integration where you can ask the AI things about your resources in your Aspire stack. So you can say, have there been any logs that, logged in error with this message? Give me the top 10 traces for this thing, that type of stuff. And it's going to go through and literally do that for you and pull that data back. So they are enabling the AI to be able to search through the metadata that is in Aspire and report on it. I think that's a really crazy powerful tool, and it's built into Aspire now.
So long as it gives me a glass UI, Ed, that's what I want. .NET Aspire with the arrow theme, please, and thank you. Dare to dream.
The dashboard is HTML and CSS, so I'm sure there is a CSS file that you are more than welcome to glassify, John.
Perfect. Excellent.
Speaking, it'd be fun if I did. This is something we talked about on the show ages ago when the Quest 3 came out. And I remember saying something to you, John, about I tried this new Xbox app on the Quest, and it lets you stream games directly to the Quest
Oh,
from the Xbox Cloud. I don't know if you remember
Okay.
this or not, because you tune out
I think
all
I
the
do. I remember
VR
you
stuff.
showing me the boxing game, and I remember the flying thing, and I remember a few other
Yeah.
things as well.
But I said, you can stream these 2D games from the cloud, like directly into the Quest, and this would make a great play for Microsoft to just say, this is an extension of Xbox, and brand a Quest setup with Xbox, ship it with an Xbox controller and an Xbox Game Pass, and for either a year or whatever,
Sure.
and this would be like kind of maybe I don't want to go out and buy an Xbox console, but I'd still like to be in the Xbox ecosystem and play
Right.
Xbox games without having, I'm a kid, I don't have a TV in my room, I can just throw this thing on, put a controller in my hands, play games. Like,
All
I was
right.
like, that is a great play for Microsoft. They should just do that. Great minds think alike. They finally did this. I brought up like the most negative spin article I could. I think this is an absolutely ridiculous headline. Shame on Kotaku, or however you pronounce their publication for this. Everything in Xbox, everything is in Xbox, including this MetaQuest 3 that costs $100 more and can't play your Xbox games. It's $100 more, but it comes with a 52-inch high-definition television that you strap to your face, and it comes with 3 months of Game Pass, and it comes with the entire Quest library, and it comes with, if you have a PC, the entire Steam library for $100 more. You fools. How dare you?
All right.
Just because you can't play the latest Xbox games off the console with it doesn't mean it can't do so much more. It's insane how much more you can do with this thing. But what they did is exactly what I was saying earlier. They bundled. I guess they don't have details on it in here. They bundled an Xbox or a Quest. They gave it a little bit of green tint and stuff to make it look Xboxy.
Sure.
Put an Xbox controller in there, and some Xbox themed Quest controllers, and 3 months of Game Pass. That's a pretty amazing deal. Like, you're getting kind of like two consoles in one here. You're getting the Quest library that you can just download and play games right on your face with no other devices, and then you can also just open up the Xbox app, stream Xbox games directly in, and they're rendered pretty well. Like, it's high definition video, and you don't have to have stuff. Like, you don't have to have HDMI cables, and
you have stuff. This is stuff.
There's no discs. There's nothing to. You can bring this anywhere. If you are an adult
can't.
and you have
you
kids,
very cannot bring this anywhere.
You can too. You
With
have
what,
kids.
like a 10-pound battery? What are you gonna? How's it gonna charge?
No.
This thing will last for 2 seconds.
If you're plugged in, it'll play off the wall.
Yeah, if you're plugged in. Yeah, that's the key point there. If you're plugged in, for sure.
If you're traveling with a kid, you can't bring your Xbox with you, right? But you can bring this, and they can sit in the hotel room, entertain themselves.
Get a Switch. It's so easy. Just get a Game Boy. Do what my
trying
family
to play
did.
one
Just
of those little
chuck
things.
a bunch of McDonald's into the back seat and just watch them, consume that.
I have my little black and white Game Boy screen. That kept me happy.
Yes,
Speaking of
course.
black and white Game Boy screens, this is pretty close. This was an interesting thing that I didn't know was a thing. I just wanted to share this from a gamer perspective.
I had this. I had
You
I
had
a
this.
Sega Master. I had a Sega Master System when I was a kid. Yeah.
But did you know that in Brazil they've
They're
been
still being
selling
made.
it for the last 36 years, and they still
Sure,
make it?
Why not? Why not?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right, John?
Absolutely.
I had no idea this
Absolutely.
was happening. And it's not emulation, it's not a clone, it's like the actual thing. It's like a licensed thing. and they just keep like revamping it and selling more of them, and it's
Yes.
been just going on forever.
And this is the thing that really pisses me off, Ed, about companies claiming to be magical and revolutionary. Scroll down to the section that says a market shaped by different conditions. You'll see a nice little photo there, which may catch your eye. It's a photo of the Sega Master System with gun and, wait for it, goggles. Yes, they had goggles back in the 80s. We did VR well before you did VR. Thank you very much.
What was the experience there? Like, I don't remember
it
that.
sucked. but there was nothing like, okay, so
What did it
people
render
bought this-
inside those glasses?
Hang on, let me.
What
I'll
did that
tell
look
you.
like?
I'll just wait for it. Let it marinate. All right. So back in the day, the Super NES had Duck Hunt. That was the big game.
Mhm.
Okay. This
Yeah.
was kind of like Duck Hunt plus in a sense. And
Yeah, I
so-
see their Temu Duck Hunt right there.
Yeah, so this was the big reason why you might buy this. I remember thinking this when I was a kid. I was thinking, okay, I can do the Super Nintendo Duck Hunt route, which doesn't require anything but a gun, or I can also get the glasses. And this is how they touted it. You can get the glasses, and it will elevate the experience, which complements the gun. That was all right. It wasn't great, but it was, part of that immersive experience that everyone keeps talking about, like we've just discovered recently. No, we've been doing this for a while, and yes, it kind of was okay. But I remember
What did it
I
do?
had
Make
that-
the TV 3D-ish, like
it-
comic
it brought
booky
forward
3D,
yes, but it also
like
allowed you
Shutter
to
based, right?
Yeah, it allowed you to see certain things on the screen as well, to interact with for the gun games as well. So it helped in that department.
I bet these were Shutter based because you could probably split your television. Yeah, I don't know what it'd be running in Brazil, but ours here
Dude,
in the
it was the
States are
80s. We didn't care.
30
in Brazil, I'm
30
sure they
frames
don't
per
care
second.
either.
Well, they were different frequencies in different countries. Like in the US, they were 30 frames per second. So you could say like left eye is going to get like every other frame, right eye is going to get every other frame, and then sync the glasses to it, and it'll make
Sure.
it won't make them 3D, but it'll give it like what is that called? Like oh shoot, what's the name of that effect? Parallax. It'll give it that parallax 3D effect.
Now, one thing
So,
about the
I bet
Sega
that's how it
Genesis,
worked.
sorry, Sega Genesis. The Sega Master System was the controllers were horrific. They would blister you would blister your thumbs up really, really
I
quickly on
still-
them because,
To this day, have a callus.
oh sure.
I'm not kidding. I still have a Nintendo callus on my thumb.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
I am not joking. I used to have them on both thumbs. My left thumb would be the D-pad side, so it was
Yeah.
the real thick one. And
Yeah.
back in the day, like I remember I would take needles out of my mom's pincushion and I could shove them straight through it, and
Sure.
I wouldn't feel a thing. It
Yeah.
would bleed. It was just like solid skin.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
weird facts. I played
The
way too much
the
video games,
D-pads
folks.
weren't very very kind to children's hands back in the 80s. So, yeah. Of course, we also
But-
rode bikes without helmets, right? So, no one, and we
Sure.
drank from the garden hose. No one cared.
Explains a lot.
Yeah.
There's some political jokes to be made there too. But anyway, this one is a they talked about in here that there were some knockoff systems as well. So they do still sell the Sega system that's like on the up and up as far as like legal goes. And then there were also some not so legal things. This one was interesting. Like somebody jailbroke the Nintendo, so they just integrated like that into the system too, and now you've got a Sega system.
You'll love the cover for the cartridge. Yeah, here we go. Super Hermanos. There you go, sir. So this is
There you are.
apparently Super Mario derivative.
Ghostbusters, but these are Nintendo carts. You could shove in
Yep.
there and play. I thought that was fun. But this was just
There was
really
an
cool that
aftermarket-
they.
There was an aftermarket back in the day that would actually sell converter cartridges. I remember that you would put it on the front, and then you'd plug the whole thing in, and you could play different games on different. There's a whole aftermarket available around this, so it's kind of cool.
It's almost like this like multiverse though. Like I never knew this existed, but this is a whole like generation of
Sure.
Sega systems that existed. I had no idea ever existed.
You kids and your fancy VR goggles didn't realize what you came from, right? So there you go.
It's just bizarre to me that this was a thing. And it says like high tariffs, local manufacturing. There's like all these reasons why this is a thing there. And, we just don't have that in the States. Like, we gave up on the Sega Master System in the 90s and moved on. Some people did. And they just keep making new things for it.
The radio ads for this in Brazil must have been spectacular. I don't know if you ever heard Brazilian radio ads for their local soccer teams. They are fantastic. Brazil. And then, it'd be the classic, Sega Master System. And then they have all these cheesy effects. So there you go.
Yeah. Cool stuff, though. Like, I don't know. This is just neat. This is kind of geeky news. Mr. Saltenberg just joined us. We're about on our way out, but I want to say congratulations to my friend for landing his new gig.
Hey.
So, is a major stress relief for him, and I am very happy for him. So, shout out to Chris. And
we'll give you a Sega Master System golf clap for that one. There you go.
Yeah, we'll be shipping you a Sega Master System in the mail. No.
That'd be pretty hot.
That should be our prize.
Yeah, if you sold a Sega, that'd be awesome. Those things are expensive.
All right, John. Any parting words?
No. Don't knock the past. That's what I'll say. This is an homage to the Sega Master System here. There were VR goggles back in the 80s. You just didn't know about it.
I'll say don't knock the future. John, you need to get that VR headset, man.
Oh, yeah, I know. Dude, trust me, I am an old man. I am grumpy. I don't like what the kids are into these days. Yes, I get it. I understand.
All right, Chris, you let us know when you're back on Twitch, buddy. We'll share it out. Talk about it on the show here, too. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week. And have a good weekend.